The timing of today's hearing on Chairman Frank's proposal to legalize gambling over the Internet strikes some of us as ironic, to say the least. After all the talk during the last year about shutting down the casinos on Wall Street, it makes no sense to me why we would be taking steps to open casinos in every home, dorm room, library, iPod, BlackBerry, and iPad and computer in America. Many of those who belong to minors. This morning, President Obama signed legislation whose proponents claim will protect consumers from unwise financial decisions and predatory practices by financial institutions. This afternoon, the committee will consider the merits of a bill that will fleece Americans by reversing current restrictions on Internet gambling, which is perhaps the ultimate example of Americans making unwise and harmful financial choices. It seems that the Democrats' solicitude for the well-being and protection of American consumers has its limits. Since this Congress took action in 2006 to address the scourge of Internet gambling, criminal offshore gaming interests have been relentless in their campaign to repeal the law or at least undermine it. In many quarters, they were the second or third leading lobbying group in Washington in dollars spent. Lots of these groups have innocuous names like the Safe and Secure Internet Gambling Initiative, but in spite of their names, these are large corporate interests that are protecting the bottom line at the expense of addiction and destruction of our youth and our homes and communities. That is why it makes no sense to me how the same Democrats who claim they're protecting consumers by further regulating Wall Street can say with a straight face that unleashing Internet gambling will keep kids from becoming Internet gamblers. Now, regarding the potential for tax revenue, H.R. 2267 provides a restrictive opt-out mechanism through which the states may decline to participate in the federal licensing system. However, the Joint Committee on Taxation's most expansive of four different estimates, $42 billion, is based on discarding even these state opt-out rights in favor of complete federal preemption. The estimate that is most closely based on the text of Frank and McDermott's bills to regulate and tax the Internet indicate they will generate just $10 billion in federal revenue. That wouldn't even pay for half of the funding needed for Chairman Frank's so-called Wall Street reform bill. This rush to embrace Internet casino gambling seems at least partially motivated by the majority's desperate search for more revenue to pay for an ever bigger federal government. I ask my colleagues, how does raking in cash from gambling addicts differ from taking a cut from the heroin sold to drug addicts? Is the logic that if we don't know, someone else will? I'm sorry, but the federal government should not take advantage of our youth, the weak and the vulnerable, in the name of new revenues to cover more government spending. Considering that the social and economic harm done to American families and to young people in particular from unlawful Internet gambling is well documented, I ask, is passing new legislation to create a federal right to gamble that has never existed in our country's history and addicting the federal government to Internet gambling taxes for more spending really worth it? Mr. Chairman, I strongly urge opposition to this bill. Yield back the balance of my time. Let me say this. I actually do have additional time. I do want to say one other thing. You know, if we were to tell our young people that they should not smoke or drink, and then we put a bottle of whiskey or a carton of cigarettes in their room, they might get a mixed message. And if this Congress continues to hope that our youth will not become addicted to gambling, there's no reason for us to oppose the efforts that this bill does to allow Internet gambling on every computer in every dorm room and in every bedroom of our youth. It simply makes no sense. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.